This is The Love Bug by Lili Valente, narrated by Connor Crais and Lili Valente.
Chapter 1. John. I collapse into the overstuffed chair in my room with a tortured groan. Outside my bedroom door, my roommate Nick is probably making out with his kick-ass new girlfriend. Inside my room, there's only pain and woe. So much fucking woe. My body aches, my head feels like it's about to split in two, and my stomach snarls angrily beneath my ribs. I skipped my midnight bowl of cereal last night, and my belly isn't pleased. But I hadn't felt like snacking when I got home from the bar. Being abandoned mid-date by the first girl in the past 6 months to make me break my no more than 2 dates rule had ruined my appetite. I don't know if I'll ever hunger for midnight Lucky Charms again. I feel diseased. That's it. Kitty Nance is a disease, and I've contracted a bad case. The best thing I can do for my mental and emotional health would be to settle in for a home movies cartoon marathon, eat popcorn until my stomach is full of buttery goodness, and let my mind soften at the edges until I forget the infectious girl's name. Instead, I grab my cell and text Melody, Nick's girlfriend and best friend to the traitorous Kitty. Any word from Kat? Have you convinced her that I'm awesome and deserve second chance, explanation, apology, reconciliatory stroking of my curly head and/or extremely buff biceps? After only a moment, Melody texts back, "Why are you texting me? Nick and I are in the living room." I sigh as my thumbs jab, "Am too overwrought for face-to-face contact. Any chance you and Nick would make some popcorn and set it by my door for me?" Melody sends a smiley face and, "No way, you should get dressed and come and get it yourself. Nick and I are headed out for a walk before we go to dinner. Seriously, get dressed. It's 3 o'clock, and you don't want to come out here in your pajamas. You really, really don't. I promise." I grunt beneath my breath and then shout, "I will come out there in my pajamas if I want to, Melody. You're not my mom." "Thank goodness," she calls back. "Now get dressed and make something of yourself, John. And eat some veggies with that popcorn. Popcorn for supper isn't a healthy choice." "Yes, Mom," I say, the ghost of a smile stretching my face as I hear Nick and Melody laughing out in the living room. But the smile fades quickly. By the time the door to the apartment shuts behind them, I'm deep in the pit of woe once more. I glance down at my plaid pajama pants and bright yellow t-shirt with the clown puking rainbows on the front, deciding it's the perfect outfit for my present mental state. Maybe I'll wear it tomorrow, too. Maybe I'll wear it to work at the tattoo shop and start building a reputation as the local eccentric. Being a womanizer and bringing a new girl home every weekend hasn't made me happy, so I might as well try something new. Being the Bliss River resident weirdo could be fun. Maybe. Or maybe I'll never experience joy of any kind ever again. Heaving a tortured sigh, I leverage myself out of my chair and shuffle toward the kitchen. This popcorn binge isn't going to happen by itself. It's time for me to put in the work. The moment I open the bedroom door, I instantly regret my error in judgment. Ignoring Melody's order to get dressed was a serious mistake. Additionally, it's now clear that Melody March isn't the sweet girl next door she appears to be. She's evil, and I intend to tell her so at the first opportunity. Assuming I live through another encounter with her misery-plague-bearing best friend. "Hey, John." Kitty bolts up from the couch, wiping her hands on her red and white polka dot dress. I've never seen Kitty in a dress. She's a jeans and t-shirt kind of girl, one of the many things I really like about her. So the sight throws me a little. The dress is like something from the 1940s World War II pinup territory and emphasizes her tiny waist and gently rounded hips. Her glossy brown hair is curled and bounces around her shoulders, and she's wearing makeup for the first time in our brief acquaintance, heavy eyeliner and bright red lipstick that makes it impossible to keep from staring at her mouth. Her mouth. And those lips that, around 10 o'clock last night, I'd kissed until I'd nearly forgotten my own name. Thankfully, I'd remembered it in time to find my way home after Kitty left with a meathead in a Broncos football jersey 15 minutes later. "What are you doing here?" I run a self-conscious hand through my hair. I haven't bothered trying to tame my reddish-brown curls today or to shave the stubble covering most of my face. At least the clown t-shirt shows off my home gym chiseled arms, but who knows if Kitty will even notice my bulging biceps once she's been blinded by my bright red plaid pajama pants. I came to apologize. Her fingers tangled together as she shifts from one foot to the other. She's wearing high heels, too. Another first. Melody said you were upset about last night. She continues, a slight tremble in her voice. So I just wanted you to know I'm sorry for leaving with someone else. Yeah, that was kinda rotten. I frown but keep my voice light. Maybe she has an explanation for bailing with the dude bro. Maybe we miscommunicated or something. I normally wouldn't be so thirsty to make up with a girl who'd bailed on me. But up until 10:15 p.m. last night, I've been so sure Kitty was special. Really special. The kind of special that makes the single life look even less appealing than it does already. Why do something like that to a nice guy like me? I tease, lips curving up on one side. Her arms flop at her sides as her breath rushes out. Well, it's a long, stupid story, but basically, I think I'm cursed. I arch an eyebrow. Cursed. Totally cursed, she says flatly, the haunted look in her eyes making it clear she's not joking. Cursed, huh? Kitty Nance just keeps getting more intriguing, and I've never been the kind who can resist a mystery, especially one wearing red lipstick and sexy as sin heels. Chapter 2. John. Kitty's expression grows pinched at the edges. I know it sounds crazy, but I never make it past the third date with a man. Like, almost never. Occasionally, there's an outlier type of situation, but those always end badly. Her nose wrinkles, usually with a weird fight about the history of motor vehicles or a guy vomiting in my shoes. Sometimes both. Huh. Interesting. I move into the kitchen section of the apartment's open-concept main room, propping my hands on the back of one of the kitchen chairs, feeling less self-conscious with my pajama pants at least partially hidden from view. So, you have, what, a fourth date phobia? I don't. She presses a pale hand to her chest. The guys I date do. They always end it after the third date. She shrugs, and her gaze drops to the scarred wooden floor. So this time I decided to be proactive and end it myself instead of waiting around for the inevitable dumping or fight or vomit. I'm just so sick of getting that see you never text, you know? I nod. I see. Her cheeks flush a deep pink. But I regretted it as soon as I left the bar. John, I swear, I'm so sorry. It was a lousy thing to do, especially after we've been having such a great time together. You're not those other guys. You're you, and you didn't deserve that. Yeah, I felt pretty shitty when I realized you left, I say, before adding in a gentler voice. But I understand where you're coming from. Dating sucks. It does suck, it really does, she says. But being lonely sucks more, don't you think? I cross my arms at my chest, pondering her words. I've never considered myself a lonely guy. I have tons of friends, and whenever I'm in the mood to have a lady friend, I'm sufficiently charming that I don't have much trouble securing one for a night, or however long we end up enjoying each other's company. But now that I stop to consider the idea of loneliness, well, maybe I am lonely. Maybe what I assumed was getting resettled in my hometown blues is really a longing for a connection, the kind that's deeper than friendship, more intimate, special. And maybe that's why I was so fucking upset about Kitty. After only 3 days, it already feels special with her. We just have so much in common. How many other girls in the world love adult cartoons, microbrews, and old cars as much as I do? Or at all? I can talk to Kitty for hours and still feel like there's an endless well to pull from, and so much more to be said. and the attraction is definitely there. I've never kissed a girl who brings out my possessive side the way Kitty does. She kisses like she does everything else, with an abandon that makes me feel protective of her. I want to make damn sure no one takes advantage of Kitty's sweetly wild and trusting nature. And hell, I don't like the thought of another man seeing the way her cheeks flush bright pink right after she's been thoroughly kissed either. That blush belongs to me. Or, at least, I wanted it to until she ditched me last night. Maybe I still want it. So, what are you saying? I ask. You want to start over? Her lips curve up tentatively at the edges. Yeah, I'd really like that. Good. Me too, I say with a little laugh, wishing I was wearing normal clothes and looking less like I just rolled out of bed. But then Kitty doesn't seem bothered by the bedhead or PJs. I could get dressed and we could go grab dinner or something. I have something better in mind. Or I think it's better. Hopefully you will too. She takes a deep breath and lets it out with a shaky huff. I thought we could do a little test together. A test, I repeat, skeptically. Is there math involved? Because, fair warning, Nick does the books for our shop. I'm just in charge of looking good and being artistic. Occasionally, I also restock the fridge with half and half and soda and sweep the floors. She shakes her head. No math or anything like that. It's more of a compatibility test. For both of us. I purse my lips. Am I better at being compatible with women than I am at math? Yes. But still, the thought of a relationship test makes me anxious. I don't want to fail and give Kitty another excuse to bolt. Okay, I finally say. Maybe? What does this test entail? First, you have to let me look at your bedroom. She says so seriously that it's clear she isn't teasing. Right now, without altering it from its present condition in any way, I want to see your layer in its raw, natural state. I blink. Are you sure about that? She nods. Absolutely. I wince. Can I at least shove the laundry piles under the bed? A man's bedroom can be a scary place in its natural state. I can handle it. Kitty smiles reassuringly as she walks past me, teetering a bit in her heels and tugging at the waist of her dress. She doesn't seem comfortable. Beautiful, but not at ease. I wonder why she's so fancy today. Sure, my ego would love to believe I'm the reason she took extra care when getting dressed, but that looks like a special occasion outfit. But before I can ask what she's up to later in her high-class duds, and hopefully distract her from her mission, she opens the door to my room and ducks inside. A few minutes later, I hear the toilet seat in my half-bath clank and cringe, crossing my fingers that the bowl isn't too disgusting. Have I cleaned it recently? I think so, but I'm not positive. Not that I'm a dirty person, more messy, with a tendency to let laundry settle into piles according to level of cleanliness on the floor. But I know girls are weird about toilets. Girls like sparkling clean toilets with fuzzy covers and a scented candle on the back. Not naked toilets of questionable cleanliness that boast a haphazard pile of vintage nylon magazines as a toilet paper holder. I'm about to pop into my room and offer excuses for my slovenly ways when Kitty appears in the doorway, wearing a big smile on her face. Perfect. She bounces on her toes, grinning as she gives me 2 thumbs up. My brows zoom up my forehead. Really? Sunday's usually cleaning day, but I skipped it today due to my state of dating-related malaise. She laughs, that throaty, rough-around-the-edges laugh that I find completely sexy. Her laughter is seriously one of the first things that made me need to be closer to this woman, to know her better. No worries, it's perfect. You passed the first test, or we both did, I guess. How? I ask, pleasantly baffled, but baffled all the same. I run a garage and work 12-hour days, 6 days a week sometimes, she says. I don't have time to keep my apartment squeaky clean and girly smelling all the time. I had a guy last more than 3 dates about a year ago, but we ended up breaking up because he couldn't deal with my mess. He was a neat freak, and we just couldn't find a happy medium, so yeah, I just wanted to make sure you and I were more compatible from the beginning. Spare us the fighting about why there are clothes on the floor in a month or two, right? Totally. I'm all about clothes on the floor. I beam at her as I cross the room, finally feeling comfortable despite the fact that I'm dressed to hit the sack and she's dressed to stop traffic. I embrace mess in all its wondrous forms. She looks up at me with a gleam in her eyes. I can tell, but you're not dirty, and that's good. Messy and dirty are two different things. They totally are. I get that. I'm feeling you completely, Kay. Her tongue slips out to dampen her sexy red lips. Not yet, but if you play your cards right, I really hope you will be. It's been a long time since I've been felt. I really, really miss it. Understood and understandable. I shift closer, barely resisting the urge to wrap my arm around her waist and pull her in for a kiss. Those lips and that hungry look in her eye are really getting to me. But first, I apparently have to ace the rest of this test. Okay, so deal me in. What's the next challenge? Get dressed, she murmurs. And I'll show you. Sweet. Where are we going? What's my dress code? It's a surprise, but she eyes my shirt with an amused look. But if you've got anything vintage to wear, that would be a plus. Most of us dress to match our cars. Mine's a 1940 Ford Coupe. A moonshine car. I nod, finally understanding the outfit. I love those. She beams. I'm so glad. I can't wait to show you mine. I did all the restoration myself. Amazing, I say, catching her car nerd excitement. Is there anything hotter than a beautiful woman who knows her way around an engine? No. No, there is not. With original parts? Yeah, mostly old new stock, never been used. It took me years to get it just right, but it was so worth it. She shrugs before lifting her eyes playfully to the ceiling. Not to brag, but Clyde and I won the Cruise In and Rock Out car show in Atlanta last month. First place, best of class. We got a trophy and a barrel to age whiskey in and everything. It was pretty awesome. I narrow my eyes. Clyde is the car? She nods, seriously. Yes, Clyde is the car. I hope that's not too weird. If it is, then we'll have to stop the test right here because I'm done trying to be anyone but who I am. I'm a grease monkey who runs a garage and prefers working on cars to buying throw pillows for my house. I hang out with other grease monkeys named my Ford Clyde, and I only get dressed up for funerals and cruising club on Sunday afternoons. Melody isn't a grease monkey, I observe, more out of curiosity than any need to challenge her declaration of personal freedom. No, but she's been my best friend since third grade, Kitty says, a fond note in her voice. And she's also a totally cool person who shoots from the hip and isn't afraid to tell the people she loves that they're being stupid when they're being stupid. She pauses, nibbling on her lip. She told me it would be stupid to bail on this without giving you a real chance, and I think she's right. She is right, I say, brushing her hair over her shoulder, admiring the faint blush that creeps across her cheeks in response. If I have it my way, I'm going to be seeing a lot more of that blush before the day's over. And I can't wait to drive with you and Clyde. I continue, my voice husky. I have dark washed jeans and a white t-shirt. We could stop at the bodega downstairs to buy some candy cigarettes. I'll roll them up in my sleeve and we'll be ready to go. Yes, Kitty sighs happily. That will be perfect. I start from my room but pause and turn back to her before I step through the doorway. Oh, and Kitty? Her smile slips. Yes? I want you to be who you are, I say seriously. Because I really, really like her so far. I really like you too, she whispers. Good. I hold her gaze, watching her blush deepen with a smile. God, she's beautiful. And sweet. And looking at me like I'm the only person she wants to spend the day with. Maybe there is a future in this. And maybe catching a bad case of Kitty Nance might not be a fate worse than death after all.
Chapter 3. Kitty. Am I ready for this? Really ready? Is John? Yes, we've always had a great time together, but bringing him to cruising club is solemn business. We're jumping right into the serious end of the dating pool, head first, with no idea how deep the water might be. I've never introduced anyone I've dated to the club, never even considered it. By the time we arrive at the rendezvous point, a diner turned microbrewery off Old Highway 9, a little after 4 o'clock, my palms are sweating on the wheel. As we swing out of Clyde and head toward the entrance where the rest of the club is waiting, every gray or bald head swivels our way, and my stomach bottoms out. Kitty cat! Big Mike lifts a wide, calloused palm as his eyes narrow. Well, well, who's this? Did you bring us some fresh meat? I force a shaky smile. Ready or not, it's too late to run now. Time to introduce John to the boys, and hope they think he's as special as I do. I take a deep breath, willing my voice not to shake as I blurt out, John, this is Big Mike, Little Mike, Howie, Claude, Dale, Bill, and Bald Mike. Guys, this is my friend John. I'm talking too fast, way too fast. But I can't help it. I always talk fast when I'm nervous, and I can't remember the last time I was this keyed up. What if John doesn't like the guys? More importantly, what if they don't like John? There aren't many people in Bliss River whose opinions matter to me, but these old guys are definitely on the list. If they give John the thumbs down, the compatibility test is over. No matter how much I love talking to him, or how amazing his tattooed arms look in that tight t-shirt, or how fluttery his smile makes me feel every time he flashes one my way. I name myself Bald Mike, Bald Mike offers in his usual booming voice as he reaches out to shake John's hand. Because I'm bald! The rest of the club erupts in a round of raucous old man laughter, the kind that vibrates the bones in your chest and always reminds me of my dad. Dad, Little Bill to the car club, passed away 2 years ago, but I still miss him every day. We were more than father and daughter. We were best buddies, co-workers at the garage, and kindred spirits in every way. I just had so much fun with him. From the time I was a little girl, sitting on his shoulders to watch the fireworks over the lake, to that last morning when we shared a thermos of coffee while ordering engine parts, mere hours before the heart attack neither of us had seen coming. Some days, I miss him so much I wake up feeling hollow inside. But Sundays are never bad. The members of the cruising club have known me since I was 16, when Dad and I joined the group. They've watched me grow up, were there for me at the funeral, and always seem to know when I need a hug. They're my family. So really, the nerves make perfect sense. I'm basically bringing John home to meet the folks, except I have 7 dads for him to please, instead of 1. But so far, John doesn't seem nervous. John O'Grady. He flashes that natural-born charmer smile as he pumps one hand after another, using a firm yet respectful grip, and repeating each man's name to make sure he's committed them to memory. So far, so good, I think, chewing on the side of my thumb. The guys look pleasantly surprised. I hang back, watching the men make small talk, unable to keep my eyes off John. He's just so adorable. With his auburn curls, full-sleeve tattoos, bright blue eyes, and perpetually flushed cheeks, he looks like a much younger, much sexier Santa Claus. Much, much sexier. Hot enough to inspire naughty fantasies of crawling into his lap to tell him all the wicked, wonderful things I want to do with him for Christmas. His smile, easygoing attitude, sculpted frame, and spot-on sense of humor drew me in from the start. But his kiss convinced me I had to stop being a coward and give this a real chance. John O'Grady's kiss is like nothing I've ever experienced. Passionate, but gentle. Intense, but with an inherent playfulness that makes me think he'd be the best boyfriend ever. And probably amazing in bed. Sex can be hot and heavy, sure, but get 2 human bodies naked together in an intimate way, and awkward sounds and situations are bound to pop up from time to time. Being able to laugh with a lover seems like it would be a lovely and special thing. Unfortunately, once their pants come off, most men take themselves way too seriously. But I have a feeling John would be different. I smile, thinking about the puking clown pajamas he was wearing earlier. A man who appreciates the humor of a hungover clown will surely appreciate the occasional hilarity of human sexuality. "So, who's driving, kitty cat?" Dale asks, his voice as gravelly as the pebbled parking lot beneath our feet. "I am." I hook an arm through John's, unable to resist the urge to touch him. I'm not sure John is ready for Clyde just yet. "I'm totally not ready." John laughs and hugs me closer, his bicep flexing beneath my fingertips, making me feel fizzier than I did a second ago. How does he do that? Make me sparkle without even seeming to try. "This is our first drive," John continues, glancing over at where I parked the car. "I want to take things slow with Clyde. Establish trust before we take the next step in our relationship." "Good idea," Dale says, chuckling. "Clyde can be a son of a bitch." "Son of a bitch," I whisper out of the corner of my mouth. Dale's country drawl is so thick that deciphering it is almost like learning to speak another language. "Got it," John whispers back with a grin. "Thanks." "Clyde is a gentleman, that's all," I say to the group at large. "He's loyal to the lady he came with." The men laugh, and little Mike pours John a half pint from the pitcher of beer on the picnic table behind them. Soon the conversation turns to the past, back to the 70s, when the microbrewery was a diner where the guys hung out after work at the button factory or the sawmill. As they reminisce, Howie hands out the cruising order sheet. Looks like Clyde is pulling up the rear today. It's another stroke of luck. I'd be even more nervous if I knew one of my dad's old friends was watching me flirt with John as we drive. Hell, I'd be nervous knowing anyone was watching me flirt. I almost had a heart attack last night at the bar when that jock in the Broncos jersey hit on me while John was in the bathroom. I still can't believe I left with a drunk meathead to get a beer somewhere else. That so isn't like me. At all. But I'd been so freaked out by my first John kiss that I wasn't thinking straight. All I could think about was how much I'd enjoyed the kiss, how connected I'd felt to him, and most importantly, how much it was going to hurt when John crept out of my apartment in the dead of the night like every other guy I've brought home since Dad died. Maybe you've just been bringing home the wrong guys. Maybe John is different. Maybe so, I murmur beneath my breath as John puts his empty glass on the tray beside the others for the waitress to collect when she has a minute to spare. "What's that?" he asks, turning back to me. "Nothing," I say with a grin as we move toward Clyde and the rest of the club starts their engines. "I'm just so glad you and the boys hit it off." "Yeah, so far so good," he says, echoing my earlier thought. He glances around the parking lot before adding beneath his breath, "But I can tell any one of them would happily cut off my privates if I don't treat their kitty cat the way she ought to be treated." I wince. Yeah, it's a terrible nickname. Not of my choosing. "It doesn't fit you," John agrees with a soft laugh. "But it's nice. Sweet. They're cool old guys." He pauses, an almost shy look in his eyes as he adds, "Thanks for bringing me out to meet them." "You're so welcome," I whisper, pleased that he seems to understand that meeting my surrogate family isn't just a test. It's an honor, a sign of trust, of hope. "And they wouldn't cut off your privates," I add with a wink. "They'd just scare you to death by making you think they were going to cut them off, and then let you go with a warning." John chuckles. "Then I'll definitely be on my best behavior." Speaking of best behavior, I slide into the driver's seat while John circles around to the passenger side. I wanted to apologize again for last night. That really wasn't like me. The more I think about it, the more terrible I feel. "Don't feel terrible." John shrugs. "It's over. You apologized, and I've accepted your apology. As far as I'm concerned, it's like it never happened." I study him from the corner of my eyes as I give Clyde's gas pedal a preliminary pump. "You can really do that?" "I can really do that. When I want to." He smiles. "And with you, I want to. Just don't make me feel like sulking in my clown puke pajamas again and we're all good." "Never, I promise." "Sweet." he says, before adding in a more thoughtful tone. But seriously, even if this doesn't work out between us, I like you, and I want us to be cool. Our best friends are probably getting married, so wouldn't be nearly as much fun to hang out with them if we're not cool. I turn to face him as I wait for the other drivers to pull out ahead of me. I feel the same way, and from here on out, I promise not to play games unless they require a controller and a PlayStation. Resident Evil or Assassin's Creed, John says, excitement flashing in his eyes. My two all-time favorites. Tell me you play. Of course. I love both of those. My inner gaming geek rears its head, thrilled to discover John and I have even more in common than I thought. But Heavy Rain is my current obsession. I seriously can't get enough of it. I was so hooked on that a couple of summers ago, John says, with an enthusiasm that makes me grin. I had to force myself to take a time out before I developed a serious addiction. My brows lift. Well, maybe I can lure you back to the dark side later tonight. I'd love to play with someone who can appreciate the cinematic awesomeness that is Heavy Rain. John hums appreciatively beneath his breath. Has anyone ever told you how sexy you are when you talk gaming? He leans across the seat, and before I know it, we're kissing again. As his lips meet mine, warm and soft, but not too soft, and as sensual as a bath by candlelight followed by a full-body rub-down, I completely forget where I am or what I'm doing. I forget the sequence of actions needed to get Clyde up and running. Forget that I haven't shifted into drive. Forget everything except the way John's kiss makes me feel so dangerously safe. His kiss is a bear hug on a roller coaster, filling me with desire and a warmed, cared-for feeling that turns my insides to melted caramel. As his tongue strokes against mine and his taste fills my mouth, my bones go hot and soft in the center. Hey, Kay, John says, his breath warm on my lips. Yes, I murmur, sounding as kiss-addled as I feel. I think you'd better go. He nods toward the exit to the parking lot. Or we might lose them. What? Oh my God. I flinch and turn toward the road, shocked to see the tail end of Dale's 1954 Buick Skylark already half a mile down the old highway. Shit, I breathe, hurrying to get Clyde started. Yeah, but good to know I'm not the only one who finds our kisses distracting, he says, with a wink that makes my bare arms tingle. I blow out a breath. They're more than distracting. They're awesome. John finishes, in such a sweetly reverent voice that my chest gets a little tighter. Yeah, I agree. He's right. Our kisses are awesome. John's awesome. As I hurry to catch up with the rest of the club, rolling down the windows to let the last of the summer breeze blow into the car, I secretly hope the rest of the day will be just as perfect as our kisses.
Chapter 4. John. I've never been the type to enjoy the journey, at least not when the journey involves a long car ride. I prefer to get where I'm going as quickly as possible, thank you very much, and hop a plane whenever I can afford it. A 2-hour motorcycle cruise I can get behind. There's something invigorating about the wind buffeting you all over, the rumble of a chopper between your legs, the grit of bugs in your teeth. But cars, not so much. If someone had told me at the start of the afternoon that I'd be bummed by how quickly the cruise would seem to pass, I'd have told them they were crazy. But it turns out, I'm the crazy one. Crazy for this woman. I can't believe how easily she makes me laugh, how much we have in common, or how damn beautiful she looks, with the sun catching the red streaks in her hair and warming her golden skin, making her look like an old-time movie star. And the way she handles this car is sexy. Very sexy. By the time we pull back in a stump grinder's brewhouse at 6 o'clock, all I want is more time alone with her. Her grandpa posse seems like a really cool group of guys, but I don't want to share her. Not when I'm beginning to suspect I've found her. That girl I didn't think existed. The one made for me. The one I really hope has mutual feelings. So, what do you think? Kitty asks as she guides Clyde back into the now crowded parking lot. It's full of classic cars, Harleys, and a few minivans with cheesy Stick People family bumper stickers on the back, proving that Stump Grinders really does attract all kinds. She sighs. How do you rate your first cruise? 10 out of 10 and would do it again, I say, grinning when she giggles. I love your laugh. It makes me want to purr like a cat. I hate cats. She wrinkles her nose as she shifts into park and starts to roll up her window. That's ironic. Tell me about it. She laughs. Well, I love cats, I say, not upset by our one area of disagreement. People who say they don't love cats just haven't met the cat for them yet. A girl as sweet as Kitty will lose her heart someday when that special, fat orange tabby she doesn't realize she's waiting for comes along. I'm getting one as soon as I can convince Nick he's not really allergic to them. She snorts. I don't think that's something you can reason people out of, John. That doesn't mean I'm not going to try, I say. I'll bring you around too. Just wait and see. Soon you will crave soft, furry, motor-powered lovin' as much as I do. I guess it could happen. She shifts in her seat, gazing at me with a fondness I hope I continue to deserve. Honestly, I don't have anything against cats. They seem nice enough. I've just never been thrilled to be named after one. Would you rather I call you Catherine? Her lips curve. Maybe, but that's not my name. It's Kitty on my birth certificate. Kitty Jean Nance. I like it, I say. I like you, she whispers. Her eyes glitter in the setting sun filtering through the window, emphasizing the starbursts of darker blue at their centers, making my chest go tight. You're crazy beautiful, I say softly. Seriously. Thanks, she says, her soft laughter and the blush that creeps across her cheeks making me think she isn't used to getting compliments. Why? I can't imagine. She's a natural stunner, as gorgeous in jeans and a t-shirt as she is all done up, but I don't mind that blush. In fact, that blush might be the cutest fucking thing I've seen in years. I'm also pretty sure I could get addicted to your kisses, I add, leaning across the car. Same, she says, her lids drooping to half-mast as my lips move closer to hers. I'm seconds away from getting my fix when someone knocks hard on the driver's side window, making us both jump in our seats with twin sounds of surprise. Come on, kitty cat, Big Mike booms from outside. The first round's on me. We're getting the big picnic table out back with a view of the river. Okay, just a sec, Kitty says, reaching back to snag her purse from the back seat. I'm sorry, we'll just have one, she whispers beneath her breath to me. We can have as many as you like, I say, as long as you stay sober enough to drive Clyde back to my place. I'm not sure I'm ready to handle him just yet. She wrinkles her nose. One's enough. I'd rather be alone. Wouldn't you? Yes, I say, my entire body going pleasantly electric at the thought. I absolutely would. I can't wait to be alone with her, to kiss her until she melts for me the way she did last night. Good. Grinning, she swoops in and presses a quick kiss to my cheek before reaching for the door handle and popping out of the car. I take a beat, soaking in the sweetness of that kiss. Sweet and sexy and likes video games as much as I do. She's something else, this girl. Something I don't intend to let slip away. Chapter 5. John. 45 minutes later, we finished our microbrews, half a Weissen for me and an amber lager for Kitty, and we're on the road heading back to Bliss River as the sun sets, transforming the fields on either side of the car into sepia-tinted scenery so pretty, I can't keep from sighing in appreciation. Sundays are the best days, Kitty says with a contented sigh of her own. It is so beautiful here. It breaks my heart sometimes, in a good way, though. I get that, I say. And yeah, it is. Makes it hard to believe I was so dead set against moving back home last year. She shoots me a curious look before turning her attention back to the road. Really? Why were you against it? Not into small towns or... Not really, I shrug. I don't know. Nick and I were always tight in high school, but I wasn't popular around here the way he was, especially with girls. I find that hard to believe, she says, arching a brow. I grin. Thanks, but it's true. Nick pulled off the outsider thing, me, not so much. I had one serious girlfriend and we were pretty toxic together. I sigh. It soured me on long-term stuff for a while, but once I moved, things changed. I grew into myself, I guess. I think I was worried that if I came home, I'd turn back into that shy outsider I used to be. She blinks. You don't seem shy, at all. She takes a beat, lips pursing and relaxing before she adds, and from what I've gathered, it doesn't seem you've had any trouble connecting with the women of Bliss River. I laugh and nudge her knee with the back of my hand. Been checking up on me? Hey, a girl can't help but hear the gossip in a town this size. You know how it is. I mean, the only reason I don't already know all your secrets is that you went to a different high school. I nod, my smile slipping. Yeah, that's another part of small-town life I could do without. Sometimes a little mystery is nice, you know? The girl I heard talking about you thought you were plenty mysterious, she says with a little sniff. And interesting, and sexily tattooed. She seemed sad that you hadn't called her again. I nod, wishing Kitty hadn't overheard one of my former hookups talking about me. Yeah, I guess I've been kind of poorly behaved lately. I mean, I've been upfront with the women I've dated about not being interested in a relationship, but people don't always believe you when you say stuff like that. No, they don't. She makes a considering sound. You didn't give me the relationship warning. Just haven't gotten around to it yet, or what? Not even a little bit, I say without a beat of hesitation. The moment I met you and we started talking, I pull in a breath, willing myself to be as honest with her as she's been with me. I don't know. I wasn't worried about an escape route. I just wanted to get to know you better. Her lips quirk. Yeah? Yeah, I whisper. I hope that's all right. That's more than all right. I reach out, taking her hand, and we drive in silence for a while. The fields flying past until the outskirts of Bliss River come into view. She nods toward the side of the road as we pass the population sign. You know, I loved growing up here, mostly because my dad and I had so much fun together when I was a kid. But I never felt like I fit in either. I wasn't girly enough or mainstream enough or something. I shake my head. Sorry, don't see it. She arches a dubious brow. I run a garage. I fix cars for a living. How many Southern belles do you know who do that? None, but that just makes you even cooler. Well, thank you, she says with a soft laugh. But not everyone thinks so. I was a huge disappointment to my mother. How so? She shrugs. She wanted a daughter she could put in frilly dresses and take to ballet practice. The first time she wrestled me into a pair of pink tights, we didn't even make it out to the car, much less ballet class. I took the tights off in my dad's office while no one was looking and put them through the paper shredder. I want to laugh. I can't imagine a miniature kitty destroying her tights like incriminating documents. But something in her voice warns this is a sensitive subject. So, you and your mom, I probe carefully, wanting to know her but not to spook her. Things not so good there? She shakes her head, pressing her lips together for a long moment before she speaks. No, she left my dad and me when I was 7. I'm sorry. She nods but doesn't take her eyes from the road. She moved to Atlanta and got remarried. I have 2 half-sisters, Cindy and Stacy. I used to spend summers with them when I was a kid, but now I only see them at Christmas and Easter and the occasional family dinner. She snorts. I'm not sure I've ever seen Cindy or Stacy dressed in something that wasn't pink, covered in sparkles, or both. That's sort of gross to imagine. I mean, assuming they're grown women. Yeah, they're grown, or mostly grown, and it is kind of gross. But they fulfilled all my mother's ideal daughter dreams, so she bobs her shoulder. Most of the time, I think Mom prefers to pretend I don't exist. Ouch. I wince. That's harsh. Barbara isn't a silky soft experience. At least not when you don't live up to her expectations or play the game the way she thinks it should be played. I watch Kitty watch the road, wondering what I can say to make her feel better, but coming up empty. Finally, I squeeze her hand and say, "Well, you live up to my expectations. You exceed them, in fact." She blushes again, and I'm filled with a wave of pride. Thanks. The feeling is mutual. I shift in my seat to face her. I hope so, because I've been thinking that I'd like to spend more time together. Like, a lot more. She glances my way, biting her bottom lip, the warmth in her eyes making me feel way more buzzed than I should after one beer. Sounds good to me, she says before adding in a playful tone, assuming you pass your third test as well as you did the first two. What was the second test? I frown thinking back on the day. Not trying to drive Clyde when I clearly don't have the skills? No, it was the boys, she says, laughing. The boys had to like you. If they hadn't, it never would have worked out. They're my people. I nod. I get it. But you know what that means, right? She shakes her head. It means you have to come meet my parents next week. Her eyes widen. Next week, isn't that rushing things a little? I don't think so, I say, not at all nervous about introducing her to my mom and Pop. My mom loves everyone, and Pop is basically a human teddy bear. Growing up, all my friends were jealous of how completely cool, welcoming, and accepting my parents were. I've always appreciated their awesomeness too, but I'm especially grateful for it now, when I'm able to know with absolute certainty that my parents will enfold Kitty into our family and make her feel so cozy she might never want to leave. Which sounds nice. Really nice. I mean, I like you like me, I continue, liking the idea of her meeting the family more with every passing second. I'm going to breeze through this last test, and then I think we should make this thing official. Don't you? What kind of official? I let out a long, mock-tortured breath. Well, I know you've been wanting to ask, Kitty, so I'll spare you the trouble. The answer is yes. Yes, I will be your boyfriend, and render unto you all the rights and privileges thereof. Her lips quirk, and I really hope she's fighting a smile. Yes, I'm joking, but I'm not joking, too. I really want her in my life on a more permanent basis. What kind of privileges and rights are we talking about? She asks. The right to foot rubs on demand, I say, assuming your feet aren't more than average stinky on a particular day. Oh, that's nice, she murmurs. I enjoy foot rubs, and my feet are rarely above average stinky. What else are you offering? I pull in a breath, stalling as my mind races trying to come up with privileges on the fly. You'll have the last word in facial hair. Beard, bear, or mustache? I motion to my face, which is currently only slightly scruffy. I want to kiss you as often as possible and intend to facilitate that by trimming my facial hair in a way that pleases my lady. Her grin softens. That's very sweet. Speaking of sweet, I continue, I'm also willing to loan you any video game in my collection, cook you the best mac and cheese you've ever had, and devote myself to your pleasure whenever you have need of pleasuring. This time, when she glances my way, there's heat in those killer blue eyes. That's an impressive list. Thus far, I'm very amenable to this proposal. So you'll be my girlfriend? I ask, dropping the game. I love bantering with her, but I want her to know how serious I am about this too. Yes. She shifts her grip on my hand, twining her fingers through mine. Ready to head to my place for trial number 3? Bring it on, I say. I'm ready. And I am. This feels meant to be. It's in the way her hand fits perfectly in mine, the way the conversation flows like we've been friends for years, and the way her kisses make my soul lighter and my chest tighter, and the future suddenly seem full of exciting possibilities. I want to be Kitty Nance's man more than I've wanted anything in a long time. A very, very long time.
Chapter 6. Kitty. I take a long, hopefully intimidating, swig of my beer before plunking the bottle down on the kitchen island and leaning over the foosball table with an "I mean business" expression on my face. Across from me, John's eyes flash as he prepares for what could be our final round. 0-4, my lead, I say, my voice husky from shouting abuse at my opponent for the last 4 rounds. If I score again, I win. Say your prayers, Nance. This winning streak of yours ends right now, John drawls, sounding like he's escaped from an old western. I can almost hear the tumbleweed music filling the air as we grip the spinner rods, and he slips the ball into play. As soon as it hits the center, the battle begins. "Give it up, woman," he shouts. "Your luck can't hold forever." "It's called skill, O'Grady," I say, every muscle strung tight as I expertly work the rods, maneuvering the ball into place for a slam shot. If I were you, I'd concentrate on getting a point before I lost my shorts. We're playing strip foosball, and John is down to his boxers. I'm not sure I'm ready for the full Monty just yet. I'd honestly prefer the first time we see each other without clothes be in a more intimate, less competitive setting. But what he's bared so far is enough to make a girl hot and bothered. John clearly lifts those free weights, sitting in the corner of his room, and has the defined chest to show for it. But there's also meat on his muscle that I, for one, find sexy. I love a burly guy. Add in the dusting of reddish-brown curls on his chest, and those freckles on his shoulders that just beg to be kissed, and he just might be the sexiest guy I've ever seen mostly naked. It's a peek at those kissable freckles that costs me the winning shot. "Oh, goal for O'Grady, and Nance is shut out." John thrusts his arms into the air in a V for victory and takes a lap around the foosball table. "Take it off, woman." "You're a terrible winner," I grumble, wishing I'd left my shoes on instead of taking them off by the door. Unless I slip off my underwear beneath my skirt, I have no choice but to take my entire dress off. The underwear is a viable option if I win the next round, but if I don't, well, I'm going to end up really naked really quickly anyway. Might as well rip the big bandage off first. With a sigh, I reach behind me, fumbling for the zipper and doing my best to wiggle it down. This dress is always a pain to get on and off. I don't know if it's the vintage style or simply the fact that the zipper is old, but it usually takes at least 10 minutes and a substantial amount of cussing to bend it to my will. "Here, let me help." John stops halfway around his second victory lap. "Thanks." I let my arms fall to my sides, shivering as his fingers brush the nape of my neck as he clasps the zipper tab and smoothly draws it down. He pauses at the bottom, his fingers lingering at the small of my back, making my blood rush. Wow, who knew something so relatively innocent could turn my insides to lava? "Hey, Kitty," he says, the teasing note vanished from his voice. "Yes." I shiver again, this time because his breath is warm on my neck and his fingers are smoothing around to grip my hips. The way he says my name leaves no doubt he's feeling the same pull I feel, that magnetic force that makes my stomach flutter and things low in my body twist into a delicious knot of wanting. I want his arms around me, his lips on mine, his weight settling on top of me as we sink into the middle of my big, fluffy bed. "I forfeit," he softly rumbles. "Why?" I peek at him over my shoulder, breath catching at the expression on his face. Gone is easygoing, silly, joking John. In his place is a man who wants me, every bit as much as I want him. The thrill of it is dizzying. I don't want the first time I see you without your clothes on to be while we're playing a game. I want it to be special," he says, with a sincerity that makes my stomach flip. "I want to know that you're taking off your dress because you want to, and not for any other reason." "That's very chivalrous of you," I say, my pulse galloping. "Not really." His hands leave my hips, and his fingers reclaim the zipper. "There's no way I would be able to concentrate on foosball with you standing across the table in a bra and panties, so I might as well forfeit. I'd be doomed to lose the next round anyway." He draws the zipper back up to my neck, sending a wave of disappointment washing through me. I totally agree with everything he said, and I hadn't planned on sleeping with him tonight. I don't feel ready for that just yet. But still, I'm not sure how I feel about how easy it is for him to do the right thing. "What's wrong?" "Nothing," I lie, forcing a smile. "No, something is wrong, I can tell. Your neck got all stiff." He curls his fingers over my shoulders, rubbing my tight muscles for a moment, which feels ridiculously amazing, before gently turning me to face him. "Come on, tell me. What did I do wrong?" I relax, linking my wrists together behind his neck. "You didn't do anything wrong. I feel my face go hot. I guess I was just kind of hoping you would have a harder time resisting my feminine wiles." "Who said it wasn't hard?" His eyes darken as his arms tighten around my waist, pulling me closer. My breasts flatten against his chest, and the rest of me comes into intimate contact with the rest of him, and wow. My breath rushes out. Yeah, it is hard, and long and thick, and I'm pretty sure I've never felt anything sexier than the proof of how much he wants me pulsing against my hip. "Is that all for me?" I ask in a husky voice as I tip my head back, bringing my lips closer to his. "All for you, Hellcat," he whispers as his head dips closer to mine. This time, there's nothing sweet about our kiss. This time his tongue demands entrance to my mouth, stroking against mine with a confidence that makes me moan and arch closer. I thread my fingers into his hair, letting my head fall back as he trails hot kisses down my neck, kissing and nipping at the sensitive skin. I gasp. "Kiss me again," I beg, cupping his jaw and guiding his lips back to mine. When our mouths connect this time, sparks fly. I swear I can see them flashing behind my closed eyes as the kiss grows deeper, hotter. A beat later, John backs away from the foosball table, half carrying me as he moves toward the kitchen. He breaks the kiss only for a second, to lift me up to sit on the island. And then he's between my spread legs, kissing me hard as he pushes my dress up around my hips. The windows are open, I murmur against his lips, as he eases one sleeve down my arm, baring the top of my bra. Not sure if I'm excited or nervous or both. He pauses, his breath coming faster against my cheek. "Should we take this somewhere more private?" he asks. "We could go to my bedroom," I say, but my nervous system is humming out a warning before the words are out of my mouth. I want to be with John so much. So much. But I don't want to rush into anything until I'm sure we're going to last. We haven't even beaten the 3-date curse yet. He pulls his hand away from my breast, seeming to sense my hesitation. But we don't have to. He squeezes my thighs in a way that's both soothing and arousing at the same time. We can wait. Honestly, I don't mind waiting. I'd rather wait, no matter how badly I want you right now. Really? Why? I bite my bottom lip as I meet his eyes, feeling a little shy all of a sudden. "You'll think I'm a cheesy bastard," he says, with a self-conscious laugh and a roll of his eyes. "No, I won't, I promise," marveling that he can set my blood on fire one minute and then have my heart melting with gooey feelings the next. He glances down at the counter, taking a breath before his gaze returns to mine. "When we sleep together for the first time, I want to know you're mine. My girlfriend. And that we're both in this for a lot longer than a few dates." "Me too," I say, a smile splitting my face. He grins back, relief in his eyes. "Yeah?" "Yeah." He laughs. Good. Awesome. He swallows and shifts back a half step. So, should I go? I can walk home if you're not okay to drive. It's not that far. Actually, I was going to ask you to stay if you want, I say, anxiety spiking. But I tell my jangled nerves that this is okay. It's okay to show the man I like how much I like him, to let him know I love having him here with me. Just because we're not ready to sleep together yet doesn't mean we can't sleep together, right? His brows lift. Like a snuggle sleepover? I wrinkle my nose. Is that too weird? No, not at all, he says, before adding with a pained look, as long as you don't mind me poking you in the back while we're trying to go to sleep. I'm not sure I can control myself if I have you locked in my spoony embrace. I grin. I don't mind. I kind of like it, actually. His eyes narrow. That you can get me hard just by existing in my vicinity? I nod. Yeah. He laughs. Then, yeah, I'd love to sleep over. But you have to go change into boring pajamas. Boring, baggy pajamas. He leans in, pressing a sweet kiss to my cheek that makes me sigh with pleasure. Deal. I'll change into some boring pajamas, and then we can play Heavy Rain in bed before we go to sleep. Hell yes. That sounds like my kind of bedtime. John lifts me off the island with an ease that has me feeling all tingly again. I want to dig my fingers into his delicious bicep muscles and kiss him until he groans. Instead, I back toward the door to my bedroom. There will be time for epic kisses later. John is different than the rest of the jerks I've dated. And come tomorrow morning, when we wake up side by side and he's passed my final test, he's going to prove it. I'll be right back. I spin to go, but stop when John calls out, "Does this mean I've passed the test?" "We'll see," I say, crossing my fingers and squeezing them tight for extra luck. I slip from the kitchen without another word, praying that he won't disappoint me. I already feel so close to him. I haven't felt this kind of connection to a guy in a long time. Maybe ever. If this goes south, it's going to hurt like hell. No negative thoughts tonight, I whisper, as I grab a pair of plaid pajama pants, almost identical to the ones John was wearing this morning, and a soft gray t-shirt to sleep in. John is going to pass my last test with flying colors. I just know it.
Chapter 7. John. The next morning, I drift from a peaceful sleep into wakefulness at 7 o'clock. But for the first time since I was a teenager, the early hour doesn't make me want to stab my eyes out and curse the gods for not allowing me to sleep until at least 10. I feel invigorated. So excited for the day to begin that it's kinda gross, especially considering it's Monday. Still, Monday or not, I wake up grinning. And then I glance over to find Kitty asleep on the pillow next to me, and smile even harder. Damn, she's pretty in the mornings. So pretty it's hard to resist the urge to kiss her awake. But I don't want to wake her yet. Not until I've slipped out to fetch a little first morning together present. Last night was so much fun. Strip foosball and making out, followed by playing Heavy Rain until midnight, and drifting off to sleep all snuggled up together. I can't remember the last time it felt so good just to be with someone, to share her space and hear her thoughts and do my best to memorize her smile. I want to keep her smiling as often as possible. With one last goofy grin her way, I ease out of bed, grab my jeans from the floor, and tiptoe out of the bedroom. 10 minutes later, I'm at the donut shop down the street, picking up a half-dozen donuts, 2 lattes with an extra shot of espresso. Kitty's working from 10 to 8 today, so she'll probably appreciate the extra caffeine. And, at the last minute, a bottle of some kind of green juice on the off chance she wants something healthy with her sugar and caffeine. I wander back out onto the sun-drenched street whistling, a bounce in my step that's never been there before. I feel a little silly, but I like it. I like my life this morning. And Kitty's the part I like best of all. I like her so much that when I open the door to her apartment, to find her standing by the foosball table in her pajamas, hurling giant marshmallows from a bag in her hand at the kitchen island, with tears streaming down her cheeks. Her misery hits me like a punch in the gut. What happened? What's wrong? I freeze in the doorway, the box of donuts and cardboard tray of drinks suddenly awkward in my hands. Kitty spins to face me, her lips parting as she sucks in a ragged breath. What are you doing here? I blink. You asked me to stay last night. Remember? Of course I remember. I'm not crazy. Okay, sorry, I say, mentally scrambling to figure out what I've done wrong. I went out for donuts and coffee. I thought it would be nice. Donuts and coffee? She echoes, her brow furrowing. I lift them higher into the air. Yeah, I wanted to do something special for our first morning together. Our first... She swallows and her arms go limp at her sides, the marshmallow bag dangling by her thigh. Oh. I shift from foot to foot, still uncertain whether I'm welcome farther into the apartment. It was romantic and tasty in my head, but maybe not. Her lips tremble. No, it's nice. I nod. But... No, but I just... She pulls in a shaky breath. It was our third date, but I wasn't nervous because I thought for sure this was going to be different, that we were different. She sniffs. But then I woke up and you were gone and I really like you and I was so sad. Her expression crumples, the marshmallow bag falling to the floor as her hands come to cover her face. Oh, shit. I'm so sorry, Kay, I say, comprehension dawning. I hurry inside, setting the coffee and donuts on the island before wrapping my arms around her and hugging her close. I'm sorry, I mumble again into her hair as she leans into me with a shudder that makes me feel terrible for upsetting her. I just wanted to get you a surprise. I thought you'd like donuts, so I went to get donuts. I didn't even think about what might happen if you woke up while I was gone. I should have left a note. I'm a dumb man-pig. She sniffs again, but I feel her beginning to relax against me. You're not a dumb man-pig. You're sweet. Just wake me up before you leave next time. Got it. I rub my hand in circles on her back, wishing I could rewind the morning and start over. Next time, I'll kiss you awake first, though that might slow my donut-fetching speed considerably. Yeah? She tilts her head back, meeting my gaze. You know how it is. I brush her hair from her face and smooth the damp from her cheeks with my thumb. One kiss leads to two, and then three, and pretty soon, and climaxing again and again and begging me to stay in bed with you forever, and well, I shrug. Time gets away from a guy in a situation like that. She nods, soberly. Understandable. And that's not even considering what happens when I return the favor. I hum low in my throat. Oh yeah? Yeah. I mean, not to brag, but I'm pretty awesome at that part. I believe you, I murmur, my blood pumping faster. You're going to wreck me for all other women, aren't you? Completely wreck you. I'll wrap my lips around you until you're weeping with happiness and begging me to snuggle afterwards so you can bask in the glow a little longer and... She sighs. Well, by then it will be lunchtime and all the donuts will be gone. Damn straight I want to snuggle after, I say, grinning down at her, falling a little more in love with her every passing second. Is it okay that even hearing you joke about wrapping your lips around me is enough? She bites her lip before she whispers, No, I like it. I wrap my fingers around the back of her neck, loving how warm and soft her skin feels beneath my fingertips. So I'm forgiven? Totally forgiven. I narrow my eyes. And I've passed all the tests? She loops her arms around my neck. Passed with flying, frosting, and sprinkle-covered colors. I wiggle my eyebrows. That reminds me, I grabbed a couple of sprinkle donuts. I had a feeling you'd be into sprinkles. Why's that? Because sprinkles are fun I say, kissing the tip of her nose. And so are you. Thanks. I'm sorry I doubted you this morning, she whispers, and that I was imagining your face as the target for my marshmallow missiles. I'm sorry I inspired marshmallow missiles in the first place. I never want to make you sad, or angry, or any mixture of the two. It's okay. She leans into me, the feel of her curve soft against where I'm hard, making me even harder. That's why I throw marshmallows when I'm upset. No damage done, and easy cleanup after. I laugh beneath my breath. Clever. Not really, she says, her mouth tightening at the edges. I should have known better than to think you were like those other guys. You're John. Damn, I like the way my name sounds on her lips. So special. Right then, I vow to make sure she always says my name just like that. I like being the exception to the rule, the one who makes her eyes bright with hope instead of dim with hurt. It's all good, baby, I say, my voice husky as I take her hand. All good. Ready for some donuts? Past ready. She grins as I draw her over to the island and fling open the donut box with a flourish. Oh, my. She touches two fingertips to her lips with a breathy sigh. This is a decadent selection. Only the best for my lady. They all look amazing, but that chocolate one is really calling my name, she says, grabbing a chocolate-sprinkled donut and moaning as she bites into one side. Her tongue slips out to swipe a rogue bit of icing from the corner of her mouth, and my pulse picks up all over again. Wow, she moans. That's incredible. You're quite possibly the sexiest donut eater ever, I say, admiring her nibbling as I take down a bear claw in 3 bites. She laughs. Did you even taste that? Yes, it was delicious. You want to sleep over at my place tonight? I ask, reaching for a pink donut with rainbow sprinkles. Nick and I close up the shop at 8 on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I make a killer bowl of late-night ramen. Her brow furrows. I'd love to, but you don't think that's moving too fast? Nope, just fast enough. I'm introducing you to my parents next weekend, so we have to be ready for 20 questions about our relationship by then. I thought you were kidding about that. I shake my head. I wasn't kidding. I never kid. She laughs. You kid all the time. Not about serious stuff. And this is serious. I drop my half-eaten donut back into the box, clean my fingers with one of the pink donut time napkins, and reach for her hand. I've caught a serious case of you, Kitty Nance, and I don't intend to make any efforts to recover. Yeah? She beams up at me. Yeah. So come to my place tonight, and let me feed you again. How about I feed you? I confess I eat pretty healthy during the week. Would you be down with grilled chicken and vegetables over quinoa, if I brought over enough to share? I would be down with dog do on a stick as long as I get to eat it with you. Disgusting, she says, but she's still grinning. But good. I'll bring supper over around 9 and my pajamas. And an extra toothbrush to keep at my place, I say, my chest warm and cozy feeling at the thought of Kitty's toothbrush in the holder next to mine. Sounds good. And it is. By the time we finish our coffees and make a dent in the donuts, the conversation coming as easily as it always does with Kitty, I'm on cloud 9 again. And the best part is I get to do this sharing the morning thing with her again tomorrow. And hopefully the next day, and the next day, and the day after that. Hell, as far as I'm concerned, we should just move in together right now, but that's probably crazy. Hey, Kitty, I say, as she starts toward her bedroom to get dressed for work. She turns back, as beautiful in plaid pajama pants and a t-shirt as she was in her fancy dress. At least, to me. Yes, John? Is it crazy that I already kind of want to move in together? She laughs. Totally, you're a madman. She turns to go but stops in the door to her bedroom to toss over her shoulder with a sexy smile. We'll wait at least a month. 2 weeks, I counter, grinning so hard my cheeks hurt a little. 3, she says. Final offer. That's fair, I say, nodding toward the foosball table. Think we have time for a rematch before you have to leave for work? Her eyes slide toward the clock above the stove. Oh, hell yeah, I'll crush you and still be there in time to start coffee for the team. I laugh. You will not crush me. I'm unstoppable today, Kay. I can feel it. Everything is going my way. Her lips curve. Mine too, I think. And then she vanishes for a few minutes before reappearing in a pair of jean overalls with her hair and braids, looking so cute I'm too distracted to win a single round. But her victorious grin as she kisses me goodbye is better than a foosball win any day. It's better than just about anything.
Epilogue. Kitty. 3 weeks later. John meets me at the cemetery just as the sun is setting behind the foothills, the warm light making the last of the late summer grass glow a soft gold around Dad's headstone. I'll trim the growth once the grass dies for the winter, but for now, it's lovely. I know Dad would like it as much as the daisies I brought for him and the big fat sunflower in John's hand. Aw, that's perfect, I say, greeting him with a kiss. Dad loved sunflowers. And sunflower seeds. He ate them compulsively. Oh, good. John exhales a shaky breath as he pulls away from my lips. Is it crazy that I'm nervous? No, it's not, but I promise, Dad is going to approve. Right, Dad? I turn to face the stone, feeling that surge of warmth in my bones I feel every time I talk to him. He might be gone from this world, but he's still out there somewhere, loving me and wanting the best for me. And John is absolutely the best. Every day with him is better than the last. I can't wait to move his things into my place tomorrow morning. That ugly chair and all. Mr. Nance, your daughter is the best thing that's ever happened to me, John says, the respect in his tone touching my already overflowing heart. I'm crazy about her, and I promise to treat her the way you would want her to be treated. To adore her and listen to her, and make sure she never regrets letting me move in, and hopefully never kicks me out. He cuts a glance my way. I smile and nod. That's good. He approves. How can you tell? I can just feel it. I wrap an arm around his waist. He would have loved you. I hope so. I know so, I say, adding in a softer voice. Dad and I always loved the same things. And people. John's gaze softens. I was hoping we'd get to this part today, too. The I love you part. I didn't want to rush it, but I've been feeling that way for a while now. Me too, I say. Want to go get pizza and head to your place? I do, he says. Pizza is the packing food of champions. And then make out on your roof one last time? He sighs. Sounds like the perfect night. And it is. Though not quite as perfect as the night after, when John's all moved in, and all mine. For keeps. This has been The Love Bug by Lili Valente, narrated by Connor Crais and Lili Valente. If you enjoyed this novella, check out the entire Bliss River series, available now in both ebook and audio.